What is happening, everybody? We've done it. We crossed threshold. Second month active now. Fifth episode of Cinema Kings. Pretty important milestone. I got my man RJ to my right up here.
What's going on?
We got Noah down there.
What's up?
And I am Darius, and we have a packed slate today. Lots of stuff to talk about. But yeah, we decided that we're going to start with something a bit different this week, kind of icebreaker to try and kind of get things flowing. We're going to talk about the things we've watched this week. So, anyone want to start?
I'll go. I rewatched some episodes of Succession. Bore on the Floor. Great show. Still fresh in my mind because we watched it. I watched it for the first time. I think last
November through December.
Yeah, and I rewatched one of my favorite Christopher Nolan films, Inception. I think DiCaprio's performance in that gets very underrated because of his other performances. But and I also rewatched some episodes of Sopranos because I do that every week, just about. So yeah, that's pretty much my rewatch of the week, last week.
All right,
You want to go
next?
Yeah.
So start out the week. I watched Palm Springs because Darius suggested it, so I decided to watch it. I thought it was pretty good. I didn't know anything about it. It's like I like the Groundhog Day type of idea. I've always found that entertaining. And the cast is great, but I didn't love it. It was good though.
It's a fun time.
Yeah. Then I watched Horrible Bosses 2 because I watched Horrible Bosses 1.
Oh yeah, I watched that too.
The week before with RJ because RJ and our friend Danny told me to watch it. Hilarious movie. The second one's I don't think anywhere near as good as the first. But
I forgot there was a second. I forgot there was another one.
Yeah.
It's pretty forgettable, but it's fine.
Oh, RJ, you also forgot to mention this. We watched Let It Shine.
Oh yeah.
They watched Let It Shine. Sadly I missed that.
Yeah. I didn't even get through it because RJ was it's an old Disney Channel movie for everyone who doesn't know.
Disney Channel 8 Mile. That's basically what it is.
Yeah.
It's a great movie.
Doesn't age well.
It really does. Like a lot of Disney movies, they don't. Disney Channel movies don't age well.
It's pretty cringe.
Yeah. And then in my film class, I watched The Gold Rush, which is actually the first Charlie Chaplin movie I've ever seen, and I thought it was pretty good. I didn't know what to expect from a silent movie, but it was funny, and I think it's still watchable 100 years later, pretty much. And then I watched the new Amazon Prime rom-com called You're Cordially Invited with Will Ferrell and Reese Witherspoon.
Oh, I've seen stuff for that. Yeah,
it was bad. It was really bad. It wasn't
that's
funny.
the new one, right? That's on Amazon.
Yeah, it just came out.
Yeah, I'm not watching that. I don't watch any movies.
Yeah.
Well,
I literally put on a movie. I was like, I need to fall asleep. Let me put this on, and it did. It wasn't good. It wasn't funny from what I remember. And then in my film class, I watched The Jazz Singer, which is the first movie ever with sound. Doesn't age well for a particular reason, and if you know, you know. I'll leave it at that. And then finally, yesterday, which we'll get into, the three of us watched.
Oh yeah, what a way to end the week.
I didn't want to name that movie, but I'll let you do it. He took a sip of water. He's like, yeah.
Warming up.
So yeah, for me, we got out to a pretty good start. I finally got to see Conclave. That was technically this week. I guess that was Sunday. I watched Severance, the new episode that came out. Amazing, probably the best episode yet. I watched Companion the other day. What else? I watched Who Killed Captain Alex, which, if you don't know what that is, please go watch it. Don't look up anything about it. Just go watch it.
Never heard of that at all.
It's a Ugandan film, and It's very interesting, and it's one of the best movies I've ever seen.
Really?
2010.
Yeah.
Okay. That's interesting.
I watched that in film club on Tuesday, and like I watched it. We all watched it together, and like seeing people's reactions who have never seen it before, have no idea what it is the best part.
Okay.
But yeah, pretty slow week for me. I usually watch more stuff, but it's been pretty busy, pretty crazy week. And then of course I watched Emilia Pérez with these guys like almost 24 hours ago, exactly. Actually,
it was around this time that we watched last night that we watched it.
Yeah, and more on that later. But yeah, pretty good week for me. Besides one thing that wasn't good, but yeah, we'll talk about that soon.
Yeah. I also forgot to mention I've been watching It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Oh, that's just hilarious, man.
It's so funny. I'm watching for the first time. I'm on like season 4. It's so funny. Like the show says anything you could ever think of. No matter how messed up, but it's funny.
The first episode's really the gang gets racist. Like that's how it starts.
The first season is such a weird show. Like there's no Danny DeVito in it. Like it's just the 4 of them.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I need to watch more. I've only seen like certain episodes of it. I've seen it kind of out of order. I need to watch the whole thing.
Yeah, it's a fun watch for sure.
But I guess we'll use what we watched to segue into our first topic, which will be our review of the many-time Oscar nominated Emilia Pérez.
The most tied with the most Oscar nominations.
Yeah, the critically acclaimed, well, kind of critically acclaimed Emilia Pérez. Academy acclaimed Emilia Pérez, I guess is a better way of saying.
Where do we even start? Where do we even start?
I think it's important that like we establish our backstory with this movie. So over like the last few months, if you've been following like the Academy Awards like races like for films, like you've seen the name Emilia Pérez come up a lot, and it's really anyone's guess like as to like how or like why it's been coming up, because all 3 of us are pretty plugged in when it comes to like film stuff. Like we follow other people who do what we do and talk about it. We follow like critics. We follow stuff like that. Even fan discussions on film Twitter or whatever. And I can speak for all of us when we say I've seen almost nothing but negative things about this movie for like the last 2 or 3 months.
Yeah.
And to hear it like this name come up in so many different award shows and so many Oscar predictions as like being such a shoe-in and being like nominated in so many different categories, it just felt really like strange. And for the longest time, I was always like, well, I mean, I haven't seen the movie, but like just based on the discussion I'm seeing around it doesn't seem like it like belongs in those discussions. So we all decided to watch it. And it's probably worse. It's worse than I ever thought it could be. Like my expectations were the floor, and it was below that. Like
it's in hell.
Yeah, it's
it's in hell down below.
It's pretty bad.
Well, just look at this. The average letter. I don't think it's gonna show up. The average stars on Letterboxd. It's not gonna focus, but it's 2.2.
Oh man.
On Letterboxd.
That's being generous.
That's all you need to know.
So, who wants to start with their review of Emilia Pérez?
Can start. I guess. So yeah, that was a pretty good introduction. So yeah, we did not want to watch this movie, and after watching this, I can attest I will never watch this movie again. First of all, what was consistently bad that stuck out to me. There's a lot of consistently bad things about this movie, but the movie was edited terribly. Oh my god, there's like these weird transitions in this movie that like are so out of place for this type of movie. It's like they just looked ugly and didn't have to do with the movie. They were just like iMovie transitions. Like you go on iMovie and put that in. But also like this movie just doesn't make any sense, like logically. Like there's just we were like said at least 10 times. Wait, why is she doing this? Wait, why her? Why is this happening? And they just don't explain it, or they explain it way down the line, and you're just confused the whole movie on what's going on at all. Uh Also, the performances in this movie are just so odd. Like they're just weird. Like these are not. I think even the best performance, who is Zoe Saldana, it's still not Oscar worthy performance. It's just like these.
Yeah.
I don't even want to say weird takes on the characters because I think it's just the script was so bad. Like this is the best the actors could have done with this script. Like it's just and it's a musical. And I can sit through a musical. I can like a musical, but it sounds awful. It's just it's like it doesn't sound good. The songs are not like, yeah, I can groove to this, or I can even listen to this. It's like, ugh, it's like screeching noises. It's like these long notes, and they're like not even singing. They're like half talking, half harmonizing, and it's just weird. It's a really weird movie. What else? It was paced terribly. Like this movie's what 2 hours 20 minutes.
It feels
It
so
felt
hours long. 2 hours
felt
longer than it should be.
felt like 4 hours. Like we were constantly checking how much longer, because it's like this movie's going nowhere.
Awful.
And also like I think this movie has a message hidden in there somewhere, but I think it's not even like telling that message right. It's like we're supposed to feel bad, I think, for the main character who was a male cartel member who killed people and now is a woman and now tries to make up to those families, but she doesn't like admit that it was her. Like I don't know. And she even has like a weird romantic relationship with one of the victims' families, like members. Like
That was odd.
it was I don't know who else was I supposed to feel bad for anyone? No. Like these were all terrible people. These are all terrible people in this movie. And it felt like the movie was like, feel bad for them. But I'm like, no, these were just terrible people. Or just annoying. And I really don't understand Zoe Saldana's character, who's like their lawyer, the ex-cartel member's lawyer, but like I still don't understand why she was their lawyer, why she cared so much about protecting this family. And yeah, I don't know. This movie I couldn't get behind it at all. I really like I'm trying to find something I liked. I really didn't like anything about it. There's a weird like third act chase shootout scene. It's like, what? Where did this come from? This doesn't feel earned or necessary at all. So yeah, it's like a vomit of a movie. It's just random shit, and I don't understand how this got 13 nominations, let alone one nomination. Like Best Picture is crazy, and if it wins, which I do think it has a chance based on how this award season's going, be one of, if not the worst picks
Well, about that
of all time.
We'll talk about that part later.
Yeah.
The recent controversies.
But that's with the actress. I don't know how much that'll affect the movie.
Yeah, she's probably not winning best.
Yeah,
but
yeah, I gave this a half a star out of 5. Sorry, not sorry.
Half a star. Longest yard. Shout out the longest yard. Half a superstar versus half a star.
Yeah, half a star.
You wanna go there?
I can go. You
take a crack at it.
All right.
Go all in.
So full disclosure, unlike Noah, I have not rated this movie on Letterboxd because I don't know how to rate this movie. I don't know, like, what do I even give or say to it? Like, so first off, I mean, I echo most of Noah's points. bad pacing. Like we're dropped into the situation with like very little context as to what's actually going on. Like there is so many points in like the first 10 minutes where I'm like, yo, okay, what is happening? Like what is going on? Like why does he want this lawyer to help him do this transition? And like why this lawyer specifically? Is she like the best lawyer around or something? Like what's going on there? And after that happens, like there's just no point where I felt connected to the characters, like any of them. Like they're all varying degrees of unlikable. Like obviously like the main character. I mean, to me, the main character is not even Emilia Pérez. It's Zoe Saldana's character because she's like carries the plot forward and is on almost every single scene.
She has more screen time.
Yeah, and like you don't really get to know her at all. Like she's, I guess, a poor, struggling lawyer, and then she makes all this money by helping this cartel member like do this transition, and then like she's rich now, and it's like, well, like, what happened? Like, there's so many points in this where they could have tried to make us connect with these characters a little more, and they just don't really do that. And then, like, the whole moral thing is like, I get it, like we're supposed to feel bad for Emilia Pérez, like because of what she was made to like struggle with before, but the way she goes about like her transition, and considering she was in the cartel and killed and hurt all these people and upended her own family, and then tried to get her family back in like such a weird and convoluted and kind of messed up way with like hiding her identity. Like I can't root for that. I can't. Like that's I can't, like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do with that. And then the rest of the other characters either have ties to the cartel or just like bland and lifeless. Sometimes both. Like, I don't know what, there's like nothing to latch onto. The songs are not good. Like, most of the songs are honestly laughably bad. And I'm not even like I like musicals, but, and I'm not like a music genius by any means, but I just don't see, like, there's not the lyrics. Half the time the lyrics, like, the songs are about things like that are not, there shouldn't be songs about this. Like, there's a song in the hospital where it's like, why is this a song right now? Like, what are we doing here?
You don't even know what they're saying at the time.
Yeah.
And then there are other scenes where like characters are talking in like a weird sing song, like whisper voice. I'm like, bro, what do you do? Like, what?
That was a horrible choice. That was a very horrible choice.
Like, you're trying to convey this important dialogue through like this half song, half talk. I don't know what's going on right now. And then like the third act of this movie is insane, but not in like an entertaining way. And like, but what the hell are we doing here kind of way? It's like this wraps up, like Noah said, like a standoff and a shootout. And it's like, what, how did we even get to this point? Like, what? I get the cartel's like a fiction.
It was not earned at all.
Cartel's a part of the story, but like this was never like hinted at. Like this wasn't, why is this where we're going with this? Like, how does this solve anything? And then a tragic thing happens to some characters in this movie. And I'm like, are we supposed to feel bad about that? Like, bad people died. I mean, I guess I'm sorry that it happened to the kids like that. The kids are like the only people in this movie I feel bad for. Because their family's pretty messed up. And it's
they're
not
surrounded by terrible people.
Yeah, it's not their fault at all. But there's just nothing here. Like, there's nothing here to latch on to. There's nothing here that, like, even like I heard that cinematography is supposed to be a plus to this movie. I didn't get any of that. There's like one cool shot or something I noted, like a tracking shot on a scooter that was pretty cool. But like, other than that, it's edited terribly. Like, here's the thing about editing. To me, editing should only be noticed if it's really good or really bad. You only notice editing if it's like amazing or it's awful. And it was awful in this movie.
Yeah.
Like, there were like some Adobe After Effect type, like what, like shimmering, like disappearing, like fade. Like, what are we doing here? Like, this has nothing. It has nothing to the visual language of this movie. It just feels like they're trying too hard to like be different with the editing for no real reason. But there's a million things I could say about this movie, but it's just bad. Like, I don't know what else is. And like the message of it, it's supposed to be like for trans acceptance, for people living how they're comfortable. But the way the narrative plays out, it's almost like against that. Like it's like they're trying to like demonize
that way.
They're trying to demonize trans people. Like, yeah, this is what these people want to do. They want to like
escape the
terrible things in their other life. Like, no, like that's not. I see why people are offended by this movie. I'm not even a part of that community, and I feel offended on their behalf. Like, this is terrible. Yeah. This is awful. This is awful. And then, like, the other component of it that I don't like is you have this guy who's not Latino. The director is French. Correct me if I'm wrong. You have him making a movie that's supposed to be celebrating Latino culture, and the only way you can do that is to use the cartel. Like, can we stop? Hollywood, can we stop that?
That was very like that's insulting. Like,
can we stop? Like every time, like we have like Latino like characters, the cartel has to be behind it. Can we stop doing that? Like it's gotten old.
Like he was trying to make me bad at the end. It's like, buddy, you ain't Vince Gilligan. I'm like the same.
Yeah, like I just feel like there were other ways of possibly telling the story without like going down this route. But hey, I don't know. I still cannot even say what I would give this movie. Like out of 5, I don't know what to tell you, bro. A half a star seems a little too generous for me. That's part of the reason why I couldn't put that on there. Maybe a 1/4 of a star, a 1/3 of a star.
Yeah, 1/4 of a star out of 10.
I don't know, man.
Wow.
Just a misfire all around. I don't know.
This doesn't make any sense.
I'll get the positives out the way. Zoe Saldana click.
Have some?
Zoe Saldana, that's it. That you have some. I'll always applaud a film for like taking risk, and this movie does take risk, a little too much. But and you know, it accomplished it put the film was put out, it was put together, and it was made. So I'll always congratulate anybody, like film cast, crew, like everybody. But Zoe Saldana carried, in my opinion. She was easily the best part of this movie. But that being said, this movie was a chore to get through. Like this was a chore. We just kept looking at the clock, like just like, hey, like how like the remaining time on our Netflix algorithm, like, hey, how much more time we got? Like 40 minutes. Like fuck. First off, this movie is paced way too fast. And the beginning, like the opening, like 2 minutes, it is just in your face. And I'm not a big fan of films that are like in your face, but like moving on, unless it's Edgar Wright, because he edits his movies and he gives us the script time to breathe when he's conveying it on screen. Okay, this right here was a very poor attempt at editing, writing, and a little bit of acting. I'm sorry, I love you, Selena Gomez, but there were some scenes in here where I'm like, oh no.
Ugh.
But like Noah said, the editing was atrocious. The transitions, like, I don't know if you boys have seen this movie called The Roommate. It reminded me a lot. Huh?
It's a thank God I've heard all about it, but
that movie is so bad. But the transitions in this movie are just, I'm not even joking, they are just like the transitions in The Roommate, and it is so bad. Like if you like watch that movie, you'll be like reminded of Emilia Pérez's editing and transition. But I'm not a big musical guy, but I could sit through them. I couldn't understand a word anybody was saying when it came to the musicals, and I think the one that was like the most like in your face was, I think it was when Zoe's character, the lawyer, where it's like a press, not a press, but it's like an event that they're at, and
she starts
that
dancing.
That one was insane. Like,
I don't get the point of it.
Me either, but it's just like the camera movement. It's like like it's just moving this I mean, like it's like damn near giving Michael Bay a run for his money for his freaking shitty cam. I'll give the cameraman this. He kept that camera still, but Jesus, like, I mean, it was just in your face, like, just too much for its own good. And when they brought, I believe his name is Edgar Ramirez. I think that's his name. He played the dude that Selena Gomez's character was dating. Like, I mean, we heard about him through one line, and he comes in the middle, and like, but I think that, like you said, Noah, the attempt at making a character like Emilia Pérez, we feel bad for where she was in the cartel, and you can do that. You can make you can make a person that like does crimes or like in your story, like, you know, we've seen it with Breaking Bad. I'm pretty sure you guys remember like the episode where we see a flashback to Gus where he lost his one of his best friends. Like, you feel bad for him. You understand why Gus is the way he is. And the same thing with shows like The Sopranos and stuff. Like, there's a good way of doing that. This is a very poor attempt at making a character that has a criminal past. Like, I don't feel bad for almost anybody in this movie, except the kids. But it was just an interesting film. I said it before we even watched it that with regards to like who we trust and who we like, people that have seen the film and what they said about it. This is this generation's Crash. If you've seen that, but I brought it up before in one of the earlier episodes, but Crash is one of the worst movies.
Offensive too.
Offensive as
just
hell.
as offensive as it. Like, it's this.
And I just cannot understand why this movie has so many Oscar noms.
I think I get it. I think I get it. And it's not because of anything the film actually did. Like, it's an awful, awful movie. But I think a lot of we've known this for a while. We've known this for a while. A lot of the Academy and Hollywood are out of touch. So I think a lot of them feel like that they're championing like the plight of like trans people by supporting this film.
Yeah. Trying to make
when they don't realize that they're actually doing the opposite of like this film to me is like anti-trans. Like, this is like a terrible representation for trans people. This is this never should have been made. Like, I'm sorry. I'm gonna be the one. This never should have been made. Like, this is awful. Yeah. Like, this message that they're trying to send, I don't even know what they're trying to say. Like, what are you trying to say? Like, what is the message you're trying to say here? Like, oh yeah, people who are trans are trying to run from their past life and start a new one and leave that behind. And they destroy their own families to do. Like, what are you? It feels like an irresponsible thing to say. Like, in our current political climate, for one, like, it's irresponsible. You're alienating the people that you're supposedly making the movie for.
Yeah.
Like, I just don't get. I guess a lot of like people in Hollywood are thinking that they're taking a stand like for something, but they don't realize that that's not really what the movie's. I don't even know what if the movie's trying to do that, or if it's trying to be like, and I don't know what it's doing, and that's the point. Like, I don't know what the point is.
I feel like one thing we can all agree on: if they take out the musical stuff, the movie would, I think it would be a little better. I don't know, like, I think that
would make more sense.
Yeah.
It's like, because
it would definitely make more sense.
Whenever there's a musical sequence, it just takes you out of anything if you're even getting more interested in it. Then there's a musical scene that just takes you out of it. You're like, okay, what the fuck is happening? Yeah, like, I thought I was getting something on, but now Zoe Saldana is dancing on all these tables. Like, I don't.
Usually the point of musicals is like musicals are like a way of like characters expressing like their feelings and their thoughts and stuff in like a really kind of a fun, creative way. Like, you don't really, there was no point in this movie where I'm like, yeah, this needed to be a musical. Like, the music doesn't really tell us anything more about the characters than we already don't know or can't like infer. Like, the music itself is not, it's bad. It's not fun to watch or hear. Like, there were like so many songs that went on for way too long. The one at the beginning went on for way too long. I was like, please just end, please, like stop. Can we just get back to the plot? Whatever this, like, I don't know, man.
I don't know how this has a cinematography nomination, a screenplay nomination,
Cinematography is terrible. It's so dark.
editing nomination.
Editing nomination.
Like there's absolutely something up with this, and there should be an investigation on what the fuck is going on. Nobody likes this movie.
No.
How? And now that the comments that the lead actress is making, like
she just fucked it. She just fucked it.
If she had any
award, movie that might have any chance.
If you didn't know, she said pretty much everything under the sun, like Islamophobia. What else? Racism. Racism.
She like
wasn't there homophobia?
Praising Hitler a little bit, like
yeah. Pretty much any bad thing that you can say she did.
And her statement is terrible. She made an apology statement earlier, and it's terrible.
Didn't she like an interview or something?
It's like, I'm sorry. It's very much like how all of these apologies. I'm sorry it came out. I'm sorry.
Pretty much.
I'm not sorry for what I did. I'm sorry it got revealed.
And like, listen, like it is obviously like those comments are horrible. Should never be said. And like, even it's bigger than just the movie itself. But like, as far as like how that might affect like the film, like how the film is viewed at the Oscars, like do you guys think that those comments will have any effect? I mean, I know that's not really the point.
They will.
For her, definitely.
Yeah.
I don't know about Best Picture, but for her, 100%. If she had any chance, not anymore.
There's no way this movie wins Best Picture. No way.
I didn't think it get 13 tied at the most ever, but we're here.
There's no way. If it wins,
I really think it's between Brutalist and Emilia Pérez. Those are 1 and 2. It's got foreign film in the bag.
I want to see that. Yeah, I need to see that. That was a Portuguese movie, Brazilian movie.
The one that's not.
I think it comes out soon here. But yeah it's gonna win Best Foreign. Yeah, I'm still here. It's gonna Emilia Pérez is gonna win Best Foreign for sure. But yeah, I don't know about.
I think her comments affect all the movies nominations. I really do.
Yeah, because she is like a synonymous with the movie, like right or wrong. Obviously, other people worked on the movie, and it's not really fair to hold her like comments over the entire film. But that's the way these things work like that, especially with how the Academy tends to be with stuff like this. Like they don't want to. Some people will see them giving Emilia Pérez anything as them kind of not caring about the comments.
They don't want bad publicity or any exactly. So.
She shouldn't be invited anymore.
This whole Oscar race has already been really, really strange to begin with.
There's a lot of stuff
happening. So like, they might just cut their losses and be like, "Yeah, we're not gonna touch this with 10-foot pole and just not even nominate, not even let this thing win." But we'll see, I guess. I think we can all agree it shouldn't even be there in the first place at all. I can name 50 movies off the top of my head that deserve it more.
Sing Sing should be in there instead of this. A Real Pain.
Challengers.
Thank you.
Zendaya should be in there instead of I forget the actress's name, but Emilia Pérez, the actress.
I'll put Deadpool Wolverine in there over that. Like, it's a better movie.
This is gonna go down as one of the weirdest, worst picks ever for Oscar nominations.
It's either gonna be so super infamous, or people are gonna forget that this was ever nominated. Which
should be up for a Razzie.
They should. I agree. I'm fucking that.
It'd be the front runner for that.
I don't know. Madam Web came out this year. That'd be the greatest. That'd be the greatest.
Madam Web. Maybe I was too.
Why does it feel like Madam Web came out in 2023 instead of 2024?
Because of the memes.
It's like February.
Yeah. Damn.
So it was early.
Madam Web and Craven's a crazy 1-2 punch. Not gonna lie. That's
Joker 2.
Oh yeah.
I wouldn't put that as a Razzie. I
still have
think
not seen that.
I
it's
think
not
it
that
is a
good.
Razzie.
Joaquin
think
Phoenix
it's
has a
bad.
Razzie for that, which is
I don't think it's that bad. It's not good, but I don't think it's that bad.
Yeah,
I'll
it's
take
definitely
Joker.
worse.
I'll take Joker 2 over Emilia Perez.
I would too.
Yeah.
Better musical.
I haven't
Yeah.
seen it. Maybe I'll watch it at some point. But
Maybe I'll watch this.
I think we spent long enough on this, unless there's anything else anyone wanted to get off their chest about, because
No.
hopefully this is the last time we talk about this, unless some bad things happen on Oscar night.
I have a feeling it will. If this one's editing, I'll freak out.
That would be the biggest joke, biggest over Nosferatu, biggest joke of all time if that happens.
You don't want to hear. You don't want to see me if that happens.
Biggest joke of all time. But yeah, I think that's it for Emilia Perez. Final verdict: bad, very bad.
Bad film. Bad film.
Don't watch it.
Do not.
Actually, even if you like bad movies, don't watch it. It's not fun bad. It's just bad.
It's not so bad. It's good. It's
If you want that, go watch like Madam Web or Craven or something. That is. But yeah, moving on to talk about a better movie that that I saw. I had the pleasure of seeing Friday night with my family. Companion. So this movie was not really like on my radar like that until I'd seen a few trailers and stuff like that a few months ago. I was like, okay. I like Jack Quaid. I like Sophie Thatcher. Like, I was like, I'll watch it because the trailer really didn't give much away at all. You just kind of see Sophie Thatcher and Jack Quaid looks like on a date, and there's some violent things that happen, but you don't really get context as to like why or what's going on or who the real bad person in this relationship is. So I was excited. I kind of stayed away from the marketing. I heard good things about it from reviewers I trust, from my friends, stuff like that. The buzz was good, so I'm excited to check it out. And I gotta say, it's really good. I liked it a lot. First off, like the best part of this movie is the cast, especially Jack Quaid and Sophie Thatcher. Like they're great. Like they have great chemistry, and like Jack Quaid is one of those actors where like he could so easily have been typecast into like his role, Huey from The Boys, and he kind of is, but he does like different versions of that same character, if that makes sense. Like even his role in
Scream. Another movie coming out soon too.
Oh yeah,
the
guy who can't feel pain,
or something.
Yeah.
With
or like he
Uh-huh.
plays like a different variation, like the same like nerdy type of character, but he always goes like it doesn't feel like the same person because he always goes like a different direction with it, and he's like perfect at doing that. And Sophie Thatcher, who I think has been underrated for a while, she is like fantastic in this.
Come up.
Yeah. And like the whole concept of the movie, it's go in blind if you can, because it's more rewarding that way if you don't really know what's like going on. Because I went in pretty blind, other than like the first teasers, and the movie's like it's a great script. I think the script's probably the best thing about it. Like it's the ideas it tackles of like control in a relationship, like how like that dependency you have on someone can easily become them controlling you or you controlling them, and like power dynamics and manipulation and like the links people go to not be lonely anymore, like stuff like that. I think is really like profound, and it does a great job of exploring those themes. And it was like a really fun, entertaining movie. I think let me look at the director's name. One sec. I think it's made by the same person who made Barbarian.
Isn't he the same guy that?
Yeah,
Barbarian. Yeah, which I love.
Yeah,
Underrated.
On his name. Yeah, Barbarian I liked a lot because it has kind of similar themes in a way.
Underrated.
But that movie's crazy. It's another one you need to see. Going blind if you don't. The twist in that movie is insane too. But yeah, like I really resonated with the themes and stuff. And yeah, Drew Hancock. That's his name. He's one of those directors where like now I'm gonna make sure I watch like whatever he puts out because this movie and Barbarian of the last few years was some of my favorite kind of horror movies, kind of horror thriller movies. Yeah, the rest of the cast is great too. Lucas Gage is great. And yeah, I'm trying to not give away anything because I really deserve the surprise of this. But yeah, I definitely recommend you go see it. There won't be anything out for a while. Nothing major out for a while until Captain America. So, well, Hard Eyes is this Friday, but that looks fun. But yeah, definitely go check it out if you haven't.
You have a score?
4.5 out of 5, 8.5 out of 10. Good movie.
Wow. I'm gonna see it Tuesday. Yeah. I was planning to see it today, but I had work. So
I work.
Yeah, I'm gonna see it Tuesday.
Yeah.
Yeah, this should definitely elevate Sophie Thatcher's career. She's gonna do great things, I think.
She was in a Heretic, right? With Hugh Grant.
Yeah. All right. What was on next on the itinerary?
Scream 7.
Yes.
Oh boy.
Scream 7. Scream 7 has had. It feels like there's something new every week with Scream 7, like a new casting. If you don't know the history of like Scream 7's production, was it last year now where
Development Hell?
Melissa Barrera was let go by Spyglass over some comments she made, and that kind of put this movie into like what artists like production hell, where like the original version of the movie was completely scrapped, the director was let go, and Kevin Williamson, who is the writer behind the first 2 Scream movies, and then I think he wrote I don't remember how many he's written, but definitely the first 2.
He's directing and writing this one.
Yeah, he's directing and writing this one. And the movie's pivoting from being around Melissa Barrera's character Sam and her sister Jenna Ortega's character Tara to bringing back Neve Campbell as Sidney Prescott, and centering on her, and it seems like her family now. And for a while, it seemed like it was just going to be done. Sidney back and her children who have been cast, and that was going to be kind of it. But both Chad and Mindy are back from Scream 5 and 6, which was kind of strange because people didn't think that would happen.
Yep.
And then they brought back I forgot his name. Scream 3. What was his name?
The dude. Hold on. His name is.
I know his name.
It's Nolan something or like Chad. Is it? Hold on. Scott Foley, that's his name.
Yeah, Scott Foley. They brought Scott Foley back, which was like announced a few days ago. And then the biggest shocker of all, brought Matthew Lillard. Matthew Lillard was announced to come back. He announced himself first on Instagram with one of his classic quotes from first Scream, and then Deadline confirmed it like not even like an hour later. And yeah, so he's back as Stu. Scott Foley's back as Roman. Joe McHale. Oh, there's another weird thing that happened. So Joel McHale is now Sydney's husband, Mark, when Patrick Dempsey was supposed to be Sydney's husband, Mark, who he even said publicly that he had read the script and was in discussions to come back. I guess that fell through because now Joel McHale is Sydney's husband. And this whole thing.
He's going to play like.
He's going to play Mark, his character from Scream 3.
Hold on. So. Oh, God.
Now it's a different Mark because now it's like Mark something else. So yeah, this entire thing none of this had to happen. If they had just not fired Melissa Barrera, none of this would have happened. But because they did, and they made a lot of people angry, they're trying to do whatever they can out of desperation to rake in the money, bring people back on board. Yep. So that's how you get the old killers coming back. We don't. To be fair, we don't know what capacity they're coming back. It could be like how how Billy was brought back and Scream 5 and 6 like a vision type thing, taunting Sam. Maybe they do this with Sydney or something, but I doubt that Stu's gonna be alive. But I don't know, man. This just I was super excited for Scream 7. Like, say what you want about Scream 6 and how like not perfect the ending is, but I really liked Sam and Tara as characters and the core four. And I'm excited to see where they went with it. To me, Scream is like the most consistent horror franchise ever. Like the worst was probably Scream 3, and that's still like a really watchable and good movie. But this just everything I hear about this just and the cast is cool. Like obviously, like I'm not gonna say that it's not, but this just doesn't. When you know it's not the original plan, like it just feels it feels like it's gonna fall flat.
Yeah,
and I really hope I'm wrong. I like Kevin Williamson a lot. Like he wrote, I think he's a brilliant writer. He wrote the first two Scream movies, and Scream, the first is one of my favorite movies ever. But I don't know, man. I just don't. This just feels very corporate, very cynical. It just feels like a cash grab. They just have to keep the franchise going because they messed up. They know they messed up.
let's just call it what it is. This is desperate. This is 100% desperate. Okay. That whole Stu move, like bringing back Matthew Lillard, why the hell would you put that in a trade and announce that? You're trying everything you can to get people back on your side. Because that whole Melissa Barrera, like, debacle, people were pissed, including us. Like we were pissed. And I just feel like there's not going to be a twist. Because I'm telling you right now, I think Stu is going to be alive in this movie. They're going to find a way to do it.
See, I would agree with that. But like Scott Foley, there's no way he's alive too.
Oh, I don't think he's alive. I think he's coming back as like, I think that something happens. First of all, I don't even know what Scream rarely does is they don't usually bring somebody back unless you're doing the whole like Sarah thing. I mean, not Sarah. What was her name?
Sam,
yeah.
With Billy, and
yeah. Where like her dad is like, in her head and stuff, like, which I don't see why you would need to do that for what's his name? Scott Foley's character. Like, I
mean, I get it. He's Sydney's brother, but like
it just seems like you're trying. Like, if you do it now, it just seems, why you're just trying to fill that. It's just not gonna hit the same. Like, it's not gonna hit as Skeet Ulrich and Melissa Barrera, how they did it, their dynamic, because they were father and daughter.
Once you do it once, you can't do it again.
Yeah, you can't do it again. But what I just think that they're leaning into the whole, because there are a bunch of fans that thought that Stu was alive. I literally think that they're leaning into what the fans theories, like the fan theories, and they're gonna bring it into this film. That's what I think they're gonna do, and I guarantee you. One of the characters, I think Asa, what's his name? Asa.
Oh, from Gen V.
Yeah, I think he's in this, right?
Yeah, he is.
That one of the characters.
Celeste O'Connor's in this.
Yeah. Look at the cast.
What's her name from Ghost from
McKenna Grace?
Yeah, she's in this. It's a stacked cast. Like, it's a good cast.
Yeah,
I like the cast. But
I guarantee you, one of these characters is connected to Stu and Scott Foley in some way, and that's what they're gonna do. I guarantee, 100%.
I think they're doing the whole Code of Ghostface thing, like the rejected Scream 3 plot that didn't happen. Like, I think that's might be what they're doing here. Which should be.
I forgot about that. What was that plot again?
It was basically Stu survived the first movie, and he was orchestrating. He basically had like a group of ghost faces, like a ton of them. It was basically
I think that's what they're doing,
instructing them how to like do. Like, he was basically a puppet master behind like all of it, and that's kind of what it seems like it's heading, like leading to. And if that's the case,
because like in Scream 6.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No,
because in Scream 6, like they had like 3 Ghostface, and they were up in the scale a little bit because usually it's either 1 or 2, and then they said it was 3. So like, I feel like with Scream 7 they were gonna have more Ghostface and stuff. So I think they're taking what they were originally gonna do a little bit, and then they're taking that Scream 3 rejected plot. I think they're gonna do that. because Matthew Lillard, he made like a whole post about like, you know, that he's coming back. He is coming. They're bringing him back. He's
more
alive.
than a cameo. Yeah,
he's alive. There's no way. There's no way that he's dead. Like, no, he is alive in this movie. Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna see it because, you know, Scream's one of my favorite franchises, but I don't have any high hopes for it. You know, I like Kevin Williamson. You know, he wrote.
When's it supposed to come out?
February 27th.
I think it shoots soon.
Yeah, I think it starts shooting like. I think it's shooting now already. I think it's already shooting.
Oh,
let me see. Hold on. Yeah, but I don't really have any high hopes for it. I mean, I hope it's good, but I feel like they kind of a lot of these decisions are very desperate, and if it's they're bringing back Matthew, like he's gonna Stu is gonna be alive. Like,
it's like that's cool. I don't know how I feel about that. Like it's like the time to do that's passed on now.
Yeah, it is. Let me see.
Like Scream 3 or 4 would be cool, but now it's like I don't know.
Oh yeah, definitely. Let me see. It is. Yep, Scream 7 is in production. Yeah, so it's something now. But I don't know. I hope it's good, but I can't. When they got rid of Melissa, I was like, you know, I was kind of like, you know, out. You know.
And then Jenna left too. It was like,
yeah, they lost their money maker in Jenna. They lost that. Like
that's the real reason why it's happening. Is you got to make that money back because
they gotta. Yeah, I mean, at least the budget's lower in this movie, but she was a money maker of that franchise. Well, not the franchise, but like the recent movies. Like she was bringing in some, you know, Jenna Ortega fans. So, I don't know.
Noah, any thoughts?
I haven't seen any of the Scream movies. So no.
I forget this every time.
From what I've heard, it seems desperate and lazy. But I do plan on watching Scream movies before the movie for the new one.
I think you'll like them.
Yeah, you should. They're really good. Even the worst of them are like watchable. Like they're not bad movies.
Yeah.
This is basically RDJ Doom times like 10. Like this is way worse.
That's what I thought just from stuff. Yeah.
I mean, Neve Campbell coming back. I'm happy for Neve Campbell because she kind of got screwed out of like, you know, money wise, and because she's the face of the franchise, and but
the greatest final girl of all time.
Yeah, but I kind of wanted like to see like her and Melissa team up in this movie, and it's a shame that we're not going to get that. We might not ever get that with Spyglass. So.
It's a shame. I just don't be lazy with this. If you're gonna go, you know what? Screw it. If you're gonna go full balls to the wall, bring Emma Roberts back as Jill at White. Well, why not?
There's a rumor about that apparently.
Bring them all back. Like, why not? Let's do it.
Wait, like here's another thing. If you're gonna with this movie, can Gail be different? I'm tired of every movie starting out where she's like
the same arc, bro. Like
the same thing every damn movie. Like
she has her character arc. Like she has her character growth. Oh yeah, maybe I shouldn't exploit people's trauma for money, and then she does it again.
She does it anyway.
Like, especially now that you know, yeah. I don't know, man. I just hope it's good. I just hope it's watchable, and we'll see. We'll see what happens from there.
I hope it's good. So,
but unless we had anything more to say about that, we're gonna transition to something a little bit more personal, I guess. Yeah. Because this channel this podcast is not just news. That's the bulk of what we do. Covering like casting news, stuff about we hear about production, stuff like that. But we also all happen to be filmmakers ourselves or aspiring filmmakers, and that means a lot to all of us. Film means a lot to all of us, and I just wanted to kind of have a bit of a conversation about like what got us in the film, like why film of all mediums and career paths to take, why film, and some of our influences on us, like our writing, our directing, like why we the kind of stories we want to tell, stuff like that. Just kind of a bit of a roundtable about filmmaking, what it means to us, that sort of thing. Because we're all filmmakers here, and yeah,
Aspiring filmmakers, yeah.
yeah,
Great filmmakers.
we've all made films.
Yeah.
We have.
You want to go first, Noah?
Yeah, I can go first. So I don't know. I really think I've always loved watching movies and shows from a young age. I would say the year I like really got into movies was like 2019 because I was in eighth grade and that was like a stacked year for movies. Like some of my one of my favorite movies, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I think I watched that movie. That's one of my favorite movies ever, and I watched that movie and I was like, that was amazing. Like that was amazing. And I started studying I was watching all these classic movies, all like the cinema bros, type of movie. Um, and just fell in love with the craft. Like I watched all these documentaries on how, all these movies were made, all this actors interviews. I've just really always been in love with like the behind the scenes stuff of it. I've always found that, more interesting than the, what's on the camera. I love both parts, but behind the camera. And like I've always like made stuff with my friends as a kid, like just random stuff. We would like dress up as stuff and I would record it and we'd film it. So I've always had that passion and desire to film stuff and direct. I've always directing stuff, whatever I'm filming, whether it's for school or whatever. I've always liked, figuring out what's gonna go there, where the camera should be, how an actor should say their line. Like I've always loved that. So yeah, 2019, I really loved that, and I started a film club in my school. It wasn't too popular, so I went to school. I was like the only like film geek like that likes it like how we do.
Usually how it goes.
Until I met these guys, because I first started out with a small film channel, but I was like really young and no one really cared what a teenager had to say. I still enjoyed, which makes sense. I've looked back at the videos. I'm like, well, that wasn't the best way to edit or say that. But then I fell in love with Cobra Kai, that show, and I still am. And I made a whole channel about that, and that led me to meeting these guys and a whole bunch of other guys. And we just talk about like movies every day, TV every day. Literally, it's not even an exaggeration. Every day for like going on 3 years now. Pretty much, and it's awesome. And then eventually led to this channel. But I'm in school now for filmmaking, and I'm having a blast with it. I had my first semester was like hands-on, like grab a camera, grab this equipment, film whatever, and that was awesome because I've never had that like opportunity to with this equipment, and film some few short films. This semester is more like watching movies, understanding the history, which I'm also really enjoying. I'm learning a lot of stuff I didn't know about, and watching movies I would never watch if it wasn't for this class, but I'm learning. I enjoy it. As for inspiration, like I said, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and I think Tarantino as a whole, like I've always admired like directors who just do their own thing. No matter how, people might say you can't do that or you shouldn't do that. They just do whatever they want to do. They're making a movie for themselves, which I really think is important. Like, I think in a way, a filmmaker should be selfish. Like, they have their own vision. Absolutely. They have their own desire what the film should be, and they're the head. They're in charge of it. It should be how they want it to be. And I've always loved direct, like Scorsese, all these big guys who, even like directors, movies who I don't love, like Wes Anderson. I've never been a Wes Anderson guy, but I can respect he does his own style, and he continues to do that. And that's the kind of director I want to be a director or anything behind the scenes I love. But I've always wanted to be a director, and I've always wanted to have that particular mindset. Like, if I have an idea, if I have a vision, I want to make that as accurate as possible, that vision. And yeah, I think that's it. And that led to this channel where we just talk about movies every week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to go, Darius? I'll go. I'll go second.
Yeah, go ahead.
For me, like, I've always like loved the movies. I loved like film in general before I even liked sports. Like when I was like a kid, I used to watch movies I wasn't allowed to watch at that age. I would just do it. And I remember like my dad used to have like an old like DVD player, and he would buy me like movies to watch, and he would buy movies to watch, like him and my mom would watch, and we have like this whole collection of, part of it is like right here. And but I used to just like, I remember watching freaking Scarface at like 7 years old, and I shouldn't have watched it, but
Seven's crazy. Seven's kind of crazy.
I just did it. But I would just do it. I would sneak and watch it. I mean, my dad wouldn't let me watch it, but I would sneak and watch it. Like I would find a way. I just love movies that much. But I remember like the first movie I saw in theaters was Batman Begins. I was 5 years old, and that was like the first ever Christopher Nolan movie that I watched. And Christopher Nolan has been like a big inspiration in like my filmmaking like journey. Like I always he always inspires me. Like I love how every time like you go to a theater and like you see a Nolan movie, and it feels like an event almost. Like I remember seeing Oppenheimer 2023 now. Yeah. And it's just like opening night, and people are just just there and like just into it. And I just love how a director like Nolan or Tarantino and Scorsese is like, they have their fans, and and then now we're seeing like a different generation. Like we're seeing Jordan Peele has his fans, and now Robert Eggers even, and hell, like exactly.
Matt Reeves.
Matt Reeves, like, he's in there now. But when I was a kid, I used to be like in plays a little bit at my elementary school. Like I used to be like a role for.
Really?
I used to want to be an actor.
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that. Oh, we're gonna need some pictures and videos.
No, we don't have any.
We'll do some digging. We'll find it. We'll do some digging.
But I wasn't in many. Like I was like in the background, just doing it. And I used to like want to be an actor until like high school. I changed that. I wanted to be I had like different like I wanted to be like a sports analyst, but like when I was in high school, that's when I said I want to be a writer and stuff. I love like Terrence Renner. He's one of like the best screenwriters in Hollywood history. Like he wrote some episodes of The Sopranos. He wrote The Wolf of Wall Street. Aaron Sorkin, was a big inspiration. One of the talented filmmaker in general. But I like started like writing during the pandemic. I was just it was something to do, like the prime of the pandemic. Me and my good buddy Will, we just wrote like a bunch of scripts, and we wrote like 10 or like 8 of them and stuff, and we just went to town, like just writing, just getting together, like just writing a bunch of stuff. Recently we just finished writing a short film that we hope to film in the summer. It's a horror movie. We're like big horror fans, so we just pretty much all we write are just like horror films. And then like I met these guys 3 years ago, be like 4 I think in August, right? 4 in August,
something like that.
2021
was, we met, like,
it was 2021 because of the Batman.
Yeah.
We went around DC fandom.
So time. I think so I met you before I met Darius.
Yeah.
Like me, you, and Jacob, and Dan, we all met first.
Yeah.
And then we met Darius, Evan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But yeah, like we met through Cobra Kai. We love that show. We like freaking analyze everything about that show, like every single thing.
Yeah, to this day, till the end.
Literally
the end.
Till the end.
We'll stay up till 5 a.m. We'll stay up till 5 a.m. talking about what's gonna
ride or die.
Yeah. But like I just spent a lot of my time just like just looking at videos or just analyzing myself and like just having discussions with like you guys or other people about this one film or TV show. Like, how did you interpret that scene? One of my favorite endings to a show that most people don't like is The Sopranos, but I really like it. If you know, you know. Derek, you know. But I like what it says and what it conveys. And I like open interpretation endings and stuff. And I kind of would like to like write that in my future projects. But I kind of hope in the summer that my short film is being made, because I'll be directing that, co-directing it with my good buddy. So that'll be fun. But I mostly like love to create and write stories. Like, I'm an aspiring screenwriter and stuff. And I think when you putting pen to paper and like you're writing characters and you're storyboarding stuff and you have an idea and it like you're like seeing what it could be like behind the camera and stuff. And I think that's really cool. I think that film and cinema is just underappreciated, and I feel like it's forever going to be underappreciated because people take it for granted. Like, it's hard to make it's a hard industry to get into, and it's hard to like make a film. I believe like Steven Spielberg said that he even claps after every movie that he sees, like even if it's bad, because it's an accomplishment getting it made. You have to pitch like your idea to studio heads and stuff, and it's
even Emilia Pérez.
I mean,
no. Did he clap after that?
No. I hope he didn't.
I mean, I'm not Steven Spielberg. Maybe he did. I don't know,
man. Yeah. After Madam Web.
That's my filmmaking journey.
I continuing.
Clap after Madam.
Clap that it's over.
Masterpiece. I had such a good time.
Yeah, there you
go. So me, like, I always loved movies, but I didn't realize how much I did until much later. Like, at first, it really started as I love stories. Like, I'm into more than just film. Like, I love reading as well. I'm actually an English major, so I mean, I read a lot. A lot. And like as a kid, that's kind of where like my love of stories came from. As a kid, like I was brought up on like Hardy Boys, Harry Potter, obviously, Percy Jackson. There's some others. Like reading kind of started my love for stories in that way. And then like movies, obviously, I mean, I was in the demographic. I grew up with Sam Raimi's Spider-Man. So that was a big thing that helped get me into movies.
Shout out to GOAT Spider-Man.
But like, I didn't realize how deep like my love ran for movies until I say about 7th grade. I was like 12, 13 maybe. And I joined a film club at this middle school I was at for 7th grade. It was kind of like an art school. So basically you kind of had to take an art of some kind, or 2 arts of some kind. So I took band. I was a trumpet player, and then I took theater. And theater, like I kind of did some acting a little bit, and I was like, oh, this is kind of fun. Like I like this, because I thought I was gonna hate it, because I was like a shy, kind of a nervous kid. Like I was kind
this man wants to know all the details.
I was kind of like,
see it.
I mean, one of the plays I read was Raisin in the Sun, if you know what that is, Langston Hughes. But yeah, so theater, I was like, okay, I kind of like this. And then I decided to join a film club because I kind of wanted to join something. And then I was like, this sounds interesting. A lot of those kids, this school was like a 6 through 12 school. And I was a 7th grader. So these were high schoolers. They weren't going to listen to me. I had like no input on any of the projects we did. But I mean, I still learned a lot. And like, that's kind of where the love was birthed. But like, I think the movie, if I had to point to one that really got me into film, would be I'm going to cheat and do 2. It was Get Out was one. When I first saw that, I was like amazed by Get Out, like the depth of it and like what that movie actually means. Yeah. And then Baby Driver, the year after that, I believe. Baby Driver is,
Great film.
and probably always will be, one of my favorite films of all time. It's just so much fun. Like the way it's edited, the way it's shot, the story it's telling, the way it uses music to tell that story. Like,
Yeah.
I can watch the movie 1,000 times, never get bored of it. And of course, there are other films. Like, I'm a huge Star Wars fan, so I grew up with the original trilogy and the prequels and all that stuff. So those are always near and dear to my heart. Spielberg is probably my favorite director of all time. Just because he's made so many movies that I absolutely love, like Indiana Jones trilogy. He made E.T., obviously, Jaws, Color Purple, like Close Encounters of the Third Kind, which I think is probably one of his most underrated films. Like he, like I remember watching his movies like for the first time. I'm like, this was Spielberg too. Like he made this one too. Like Jesus, like Jurassic Park, Schindler's List. It's like the list just keeps going on and on. And like after it kind of became a rabbit hole I went down. Like I would watch more and more of these movies, and I would like kind of like Google or ask my dad about some of the classic movies, and I watched more of those. I watched the Godfather movies around that time. Perfect. The first two films, basically perfect movies. Apocalypse Now, stuff like that. The classics, and then that's kind of when I just kind of decided like, hey, I always knew I wanted to be a writer, but it was kind of an author at first because I was also like big into Stephen King and stuff like that. But I kind of decided, hey, maybe I want to write for film, like a visual medium instead. And then the pandemic happened, and I basically had nothing to do but play 2K and talk to my good buddy of mine, Aiden. And we kind of would just toss ideas back and forth because he was also in the film as well. And somehow that became like us storyboarding script ideas, coming up with TV show ideas, film ideas, short film ideas, and like even writing some short scripts. Like we would do that, and that kind of really pushed me into like, hey, this is not something I might just do in my free time. It's something I can do as like my career if I really put my mind to it. And I'll just watch more and more films, more and more prestige TV. And like, I don't know, like I've always been more into the writing side of things than directing. Not to say I wouldn't direct, because the more I experience things and the more I like work on sets and work with people, I do love directing. But like writing for me is just like, it's freeing for me. Like it helps me express like my viewpoints on the world, on people, on stuff like that in a way where I can feel like I can entertain people and take them away from whatever like is going on in their life for 2 hours or however long is going on. And I don't think that is something that can be replicated in any other form. Like I think a writer, even though a lot of times we have to hand the reins over to the director, I think I love the process, like the idea, like the storyboarding, to come up with the initial idea, the actual writing the script. Like I love all of it, even though it's painful, it can take forever, it's tedious, but I love every second of it. And I love collaborating with like others. Like I love talking to directors, and trying to figure out like, hey, how much of my vision can we keep? How much of your vision can we keep? Can we meet in the middle? That sort of stuff. So yeah, like I don't know. I feel like for me, I don't know if you guys feel similarly. Like I feel like I have to do filmmaking. If I don't, I don't know what like. There's other options I have, but I don't know how I'll be happy as a person if I don't.
Yeah,
like,
this is for me. This is how I've always thought about it. Like I want to be involved in filmmaking in some way, shape, or form. Even if I don't get what I want, I have to be involved. It's something that like I have to be involved in. Like whether it's a PA, screenwriter, like I don't give a shit. Like it's just I have to be involved with it. Like,
I feel like I'm way more passionate about film and movies than literally anything else. Like there's nothing that can get me more excited something to talk about, to care about more than movies, or like any other profession, really. Like I just can't get into, but like this is what I've always, and I feel like it's that passion that is what makes good filmmakers.
Yeah.
Like feeling like you have something to bring to the table, so like you have something that people want to see, that you want to create. I've always just loved that idea of creating art in any way, for any type of art. I think that now it's more people push like their kids to do that more. But I've always felt like it's very important to the world. It's like, because another reason why I love film, and I think you guys can relate, is it's a distraction. It's something you can. It's another world. Like, it sounds cheesy, but it's another world you can transport yourself into for a few hours and block out everything else. And I think to say that you can create that for someone, like even these videos that we make, like to create as a distraction for someone to sit down for 2 hours, just listen to us and forget about everything else. I think that's amazing. That's just as important as any like quote unquote normal job that brings something to the world.
One of the things that I like want to think that's very important, and Tom Cruise is a big advocate for it. Say what you want about him, but I freaking love his passion for filmmaking.
Yeah,
He's preserving movie theaters and keeping them alive. And
absolutely,
I know people will say that they don't like, the MCU, and say what you want about the state of the MCU or like anything DC or big franchise. They keep movie theaters going, and they keep, art house films like A24 and all that stuff. They're able to like get some profit of it and like put their movies in theaters and stuff. But I just think that, I don't think the theater experience is dying or anything, but I think that people just, especially this generation, just take it for granted. And it is kind of sad. Like when you see people, when you're going to see a film and people just bring their phone out and they just can't put their phone away. And for like an hour and a half or like 2 hours, like even like you just can't put it away. And I just feel like people just kind of like just some people like the normies, not like the film goers like us and some other people, but some people just go to just pass the time instead of just experiencing a story being told. Because like when those credits roll, like you see like a bunch of people that are involved in the filmmaking process. It's not just the cast and the director; it's crew members, it's producers, it's everything, like writers. Like it's a long process getting a film made, and it goes back to what I said about Matt Reeves. Like just let the man cook. I mean, it's gonna be good. If we waited for the first one, waited for the second one, and it's just same thing for other movies. And I just feel like people just should not take it for granted. And when I talk to other normies that are not like us, when it comes to film, and I have very different opinions. Like when it comes to like Netflix and other streaming, like I can't stand Netflix or streaming movies. Like I don't like it. It brings on the quality of filmmaking. I don't like how
it's all for the money.
It's corporate-y. Like
it makes films in the background noise instead of an experience. Like it's just something you put on because you need to have something on in the back, like white noise to have on in the background. That shouldn't be what film is to me.
Yeah. That's just.
It's just I agree completely. Like for me, like next to my my own home, like the cinema, the like movie theater, whatever you want to call it, is like my favorite place on earth to be.
Yeah,
definitely.
Because even if I don't like the movie that I go and watch, like it's just the atmosphere of the movies, and especially because I tend to go a lot with my family and my friends, and even if the movie is bad, it's like you get to experience like RJ said, the collective effort of like thousands of people, hundreds of thousands of people, and you get to experience like the results of their collective effort. Like maybe it'll be good, maybe it won't, but for 2 hours or however long it is, you were like living in another world. You were experiencing their effort together, and that's a beautiful.
The only thing that matters.
Yeah, that's all that should matter. Like I get it, stuff happens outside. Like if there's an emergency, of course, answer your phone, something like that. Like but like
Yeah.
you should respect the art of like what these people have done, like not just the actors, not just the director, like the lighting people, the makeup crew, the costume crew, the set designers. Like there's so much that goes into it that people don't even like acknowledge. And like stunt crew, like
that doesn't get enough credit. The stunt crew.
Yeah,
should get Oscar now.
Fall Guy
Category,
tackled that really
category.
well. But yeah, like I don't know. I just feel like, and then like the strikes really illuminated this for me. And RJ, you'll agree. A lot of people disrespect like the art of filmmaking. They don't, especially for writers. Like I got to get on my soapbox for a minute. Like writers, screenwriters are some of the most disrespected people in Hollywood, and it doesn't. I thought it was going to get better after the strikes. Doesn't really seem like it has.
Yeah.
Like, yes, the director is responsible for executing the vision of the writer. That is true, and also their own. But none of this would be possible if the script is not written. Like, how many movies have we seen fall apart because, like, yeah, the actors are great, the director is great, but like the scripts, or the script wasn't done in time, or they didn't have a script when they were shooting, so they were making up on the fly. Like, yeah, that stuff can work sometimes, but like, you don't have a movie if there's no script. You don't.
Yeah.
And I just feel like during the strikes, like there's a lot of people out there that just didn't understand where a lot of writers are coming from. Like they weren't being fairly compensated about the concerns with AI and things like that. And like it was stuff like that that kind of made me, I thought about this with RJ, it made me nervous because I was like, is there a future in this for me? Like, do I even have a place if if a robot can write a script in 20 seconds? Like obviously some of these greedy studios are going to want to cheap out on money and like just run a script through ChatGPT and they print out a script. Here we go. We can shoot now. Like that's something that we actually have to worry about. And I got a lot of people telling me, hey, maybe this isn't the right line of work for you. You should do something else. And like that was pretty depressing, not gonna lie. I got pretty down for a minute. Like that was people telling you you're obsolete before you even really start. Like that's pretty messed up. And some of them I knew it was coming out of a place of love, but still, like it still
you don't want to
hurts.
hear that.
Yeah. People telling you like, hey, maybe the thing is you feel like you need to do, like you shouldn't do it because you're replaceable. Like that's, I don't know. Yeah. I feel like a lot of people can relate to that because AI is threatening to take over a lot of more jobs than just screenwriters, but like people just don't apply that same logic for some reason. Like, how would you feel if this came for your job? Like,
exactly.
Yeah.
For some reason, like people hold like Hollywood, filmmaking jobs, like they hold that to like it's not the same for some reason. It's like, well, it's a job. At the end of the day, like you don't want your lives. You don't want your job taken away.
Yeah.
Like screenwriters don't get paid like actors and directors, like unless you're Aaron Sorkin, like
unless you're like the top of the top, like you're not gonna get you're not gonna get that bag like they do. And like
the thing is, Aaron Sorkin has directed too, so like he's
the like, streaming stuff with the residuals, like that's a whole nother aspect of this where people they're getting over on that like a lot. It's another reason not a big fan of streaming. Like with the way they take things off of streaming services and put them on other ones, that's not an accident. They're doing that to get around paying what they owe these writers and actors and stuff.
Yeah,
but yeah, the industry is in kind of like a shaky place. But when is it not? Like Hollywood's always been kind of a volatile thing, so you just gotta have faith it'll work out better. So
it's a risk we're all worth risking, taking.
Absolutely,
yeah, we are taking.
And honestly, like it is easier now, I think, in some ways because I mean we have like stuff like YouTube and other platforms where you can, if you film your own thing, you can upload it and get a following and. Like, hey, you can tell us, hey, this is what I can do with like no money. Imagine what I could do if you back me with some money. Like that is a way. I think David F. Sandberg started that way. The director of like Shazam and Lights Out. He made like short films, and they were so impressive that he's able to get into the industry that way. So there are more pathways like in now.
It was really there's really no excuse not to put yourself out there now because you have all these different platforms. I was just talking to my friend the other day who was like, he was watching my videos like, yeah, I have all this stuff to say too. And I'm like, well, post a TikTok about it, post a video about it. Why not? What's the worst that could happen? He's like, I don't know. What if one of my friends finds it and makes fun of me? I'm like, who make fun of you? You're doing what you want to do. It's like, yeah. What's the worst that could happen? Even if someone doesn't like what you have to say, that's good. Like you're getting the attraction. Yeah.
If we
didn't like what we had to say about Wicked, people watched it.
They didn't understand what we had to say about Wicked. It's not.
That is true, but
yeah, like if anything, we learned from like our experience of like meeting and joining the chosen one, Jacob Streams. Like, you never know like how much like what you have to say can resonate with someone else, and like that to me, like obviously, if you ask me why film, a part of it is money. I mean, every job is money. Like that's just the world we live in. Like you got to make money, you know, like you have to. But more than that, for me, it sounds cheesy, but if I can make anything at all that has an impact, a positive impact on someone's life in any way, like I feel like I succeeded. To me,
definitely, yeah.
Like, I have someone who tells me, "Hey, this thing you made, it really resonated with me." Like that's to me that is success. Like obviously, money's great, acclaim is great, an Oscar would be great, but like just knowing that someone out there resonated with me the same way the works of like Sam Raimi or Charlie Kaufman or Steven Spielberg or Tarantino or Fincher or whoever like resonated with me, like that's all I really want or all I really need.
Definitely.
Yeah.
100%.
100%.
Yeah. Well, it was a good conversation. I think I like
putting
that in there. Yeah.
But I think that's gonna be it for this episode, unless we had any final thoughts.
It was a bit of a slow week for news. I think this week we're gonna.
This week will be crazy.
This week
will be hectic. Well, we got the Cobra Kai stuff, the Cobra Kai trailer. You got Fantastic Four trailer. That's happening, right?
Tuesday, two of us are excited for that.
Tuesday and GMA. Oscars are soon.
Oscars are soon. I feel like there's some award show this next weekend.
I think it's a Critics' Choice week.
Is Critics one of them? They should all be.
Also, more trailers at the Super Bowl on Sunday.
Oh yeah,
Super Bowl trailers. Yeah, huge.
Jurassic World and some other stuff. Mission Impossible, I think too.
Yeah. And who else? What else will be sprinkled in there? We don't know. Like
some surprises.
Next week will be hectic. So
yeah. Needed this kind of slower week, calm before the storm, as they say. Yeah.
So
well, yeah, this has been our 5th episode. That's a pretty big number. Pretty big number. Follow us or subscribe here. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on TikTok. Spotify as well. Yeah, follow us there too.
Spotify, yeah.
And we'll be back again next week. Same time. Not same time, but yeah.
Not same time. So it's a little delayed.
Yeah, some things happened yesterday. Things happened yesterday because Emilia Pérez happened yesterday. So this is a bit late, but yeah. This has been a really different type of episode for us, but yeah, we're gonna try to do this from time to time. Shake things
Comment down below any topics, personal
any ideas.
Topics, that more than just news. Yeah,
we want to be interactive. Take requests.
Yes,
within reason.
Within reason,
of course.
Within reason. That's the important part. Yeah.
All right. See you guys next week. Peace out.